What do you do when you see a little green laid out in a snowbank? I tell you what it means. Got a feather in his cap as it's swaying to and fro. There's a story coming at you. I'll tell you how it goes. Now St. Patrick's up in heaven sends a messenger our way, spreading waves of green and shamrocks upon this very day. Irish whiskey by the yard makes a soul a dancing fool. Pails of ale, a greenish hue, makes for merry measure too. Now Danny came a-trotting, headed straight for Roger's roost, stored it up a pail and he's feeling rather loose. Started bragging about his powers from St. Patrick up above. Thought he was a crafty devil, he's tossing down another. What do you do when you see a little green laid out in a snowbank? Tell me what it means. Got a feather in his cap as he's swaying to and fro. There's a leprechaun beneath it and he's buried in the snow. Now the cronies who are listening, they were cooking up a plan. Let's bag this blabbing blarney and we'll off with what we can. We'll fill him up with whiskey and green beer by the score. We'll get him bloody pissed and then we'll lure him out the door. Yep. Each neighbor bellowed out around. The barkeep answered every call. Tankards brimming, greenish foam, the tails are growing long and tall. The little man stood tall as well, he raised his tankard to the air. Then he says, you're all the best, and danced a jig there on the stair. Kinda like Fred Astaire, but no, he was definitely doing a jig. Danny's getting bloody schnockered, blew his cover right away, telling tales of rainbow magic and the luck of Irish ways, tales of unicorns and fairies, that endless pot of gold. St. Patrick's in a tizzy, he's tossing down another. What do you do when you see a little green laid out in a snowbank? Tell me what it means. Got a feather in his cap as it's swaying to and fro. There's a leprechaun beneath it and he's buried in the snow. Their conspiracy did fester, Danny's bladders ripe to burst. Blind Robin stacked upon the bar mustered up a rousing thirst. Danny stumbles to the door to make a beeline for the loo. There's cronies stacked together and they're lined up 2 by 2. There were green alligators and long neck geese, some humpy-backed camels and a couple chimpanzees. No, that's a different song, right? Yeah. No, there's a whisper and a chuckle, for their plan is growing strong. They know this blabbing blarney won't last for very long. It's nearly 20 below zero on the dark side of the hill. If you spit, you'll hear it crackle like the clanking of a shell. Flustered, frantic, and bewildered, Danny's desperate for a tree. His mind is racing anxiously to set his bladder free. Fumbling with his suspenders, dropped his knickers to his knees. He breaks into a run. He's eyeballing a hemlock. What do you do when you see a little green laid out in a snowbank? Tell me what it means. Got a feather in his cap as it's swaying to and fro. There's a leprechaun beneath it and he's buried in the snow. In a trot he trips and bumps the trees so hard snow plummets from its boughs. In layers it's building freakily and piling on down. In midstream is pummeled with such an eerie sound. There's nothing to be seen but white and green upon the ground. Oh, what do you do when you see a little green laid out in a snowbank? Tell me what it means. Got a feather in his cap as it's swaying to and fro. There's a leprechaun beneath it and he's buried in the snow. What do you do when you see a little green laid out in a snowbank? Tell me what it means. Got a feather in his cap as it's swaying to and fro. There's a leprechaun beneath it and he's buried in the snow. What do you do when you see a little green laid out in a snowbank? Tell me what it means. Got a feather in his cap as it's swaying to and fro. There's a leprechaun beneath it. There's a leprechaun beneath it. There's a leprechaun beneath it, and he's buried in the snow. Happy St. Paddy's Month to you all. Oi, look at you. Whoa, yeah.